Resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Held and D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your tanned, rested, and ready host, D Squared, along with
Brian Held, who is wore out and not ready at all.
What? What's wrong with you?
Well,
what's up, buckaroo?
So earlier today, I have to give congratulations to Rebecca and Arlen, who I officiated their wedding. Rebecca, of course, is I Need Sugar, one of the cosplayers from our community here. And beautiful bride, great ceremony.
Is she diabetic or something?
Not that I'm aware of.
Just asking. It's a very oddly specific name. I Need Sugar.
Of course, Remy Domino Cosplay was in the wedding party, so they're best friends, you know.
Hey,
so
party.
Yeah, so it was all good. And real quick, before we get started, I just want to mention some events that are coming up.
A lot?
Oh, man, there's always a lot. So Horror Gras 2019 is going to be happening at Gamers and Geeks. That's in Mobile on October 26th and 27th. So if you want to go check that out, all of our fans out in Mobile, that's going to be going on. They have an event page on Facebook. Then, of course, Big Easy Con is coming to New Orleans November 1st through 3rd. And then St. Tammany Collectors Con will be having their event November 16th. But that same weekend, you and I will be out at Contraflow November 15th through the 17th as the fan guests of honor. So, yeah. All right, you want to lay out the show?
Yes, let's lay out the show. As always, we'll kick it off with top nerd news, followed by more top nerd news because we have officially fired Skungy's punk. Beep.
So Skungy had...
I don't care what Skungy had. I bought him a treat from Disney World. I got him a present, and then he stands us up. He's fired.
He had...
I don't want to hear his... I'm not listening.
All right.
Followed by a wonderful guest who did show up.
Yes, our guest is independent author Shay Savage. She's a USA Today Bestselling Author.
Nice.
And she talks about her different work, how her process develops, and all that. It's good stuff. Then, of course, we'll close it all out with This Week in Geek History.
But first, and now your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now your top nerd news stories. All right, so Brian, I'm tanned, rested, and ready because I just got back from Orlando.
Right.
And look, I had a great time out there. I got to see Galaxy's Edge.
I'm super jealous.
And the reason I'm bringing this up, though, is because, I did Halloween Horror Nights as well. So if you follow me on Instagram, DLeague D2, or Producer D2 on Twitter and Facebook, all that jazz, you can see me and my son DJ, we went through all 10 houses in one night, all the haunts in Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah, fast passes rule. Okay. So we went through all the haunts, and then we kind of rated them and just talked a lot about them. They had the Ghostbusters. It was like being in the freaking movie, Brian.
What?
Oh, my God, dude. It was so awesome. Like, DJ and I were leaving like, we got the high five of Ghostbuster. I mean, that's how excited we were. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space was just like the movie, man. The creepy little clowns, that the little sweet one that with the boxing gloves, ding ding, and then makes the shadow puppet animals that eat people.
Right,
dude. It was like walking through the movie. That one too. But one thing that I wanted to bring up to you because I know you'll appreciate this. We talk about this on this show constantly. Is about like new properties.
Okay,
and what Universal did, they they had House of 1,000 Corpses, Ghostbusters, but then they had like 5 or 6 of their own kind of created ones. One was like Depths or something of the Depths. And it was in essence kind of like they go way down too deep in the ocean and these weird like deep sea fish start biting people. And then you've got like zombie people in this underwater facility. It was wacky. It was fun. But they had a bunch of different ones like that, where they had the Hollywood classic Universal monsters, which they updated to make them scary and not like your grandpa's, like, it's a mummy. Yeah, right. I didn't see The Invisible Man. But
oh God,
you're welcome. But they had a lot of those new properties. Like one was like glass gladiator pits, and it was like, for the emperor, and they're just mutilating people.
Okay.
But the sets were amazing, and like you could make little vignettes and movies out of these things, and that was my big takeaway from the night, was just that they had all these cool little haunts that weren't properties owned by anyone specifically. They created them just for Halloween Horror Nights, so that you would walk in and not know what you were walking into. You walk into a House of 1,000 Corpses or you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But they had a bunch of those where one was Graveyard Games, where it was kind of mashup of Night of the Living Dead 2 with all the punks that go into the graveyard and they're kicking over tombstones and spray painting stuff. Well, right when you walk in, they got a guy who jumps out at you with a spray paint can. He goes, gotcha, dork, pump, 2 for flinching. Like, just makes fun of you as you're walking in. It was hysterical because he's there, defacing the graveyard.
Wow.
Then he gets his, because here's the best part, Brian. It was set in Ascension Parish.
Oh,
so
what?
Yeah, it had the whole southern New Orleans style, like you're going through like St. Louis cemeteries. I mean, it was sweet. And the sets were great, man. I mean, I made a joke about how I hurt my hand knocking on the wood, thinking that it was going to be like particle board. Dude. I mean, like, the sets were unreal. So shout out to all of our local haunts. Step up your game. Universal was not playing around, man.
All right.
So I wanted to bring that up because Hollywood is listening, Brian. It's just that they're only using it on a small scale.
All right. They need to step it up then.
They do need to step it up. So maybe they need to make movies of these. I'm not saying this was movie quality stuff, but even last year when DJ and I went, they had one where the entire earth was taken over by like these plant people. And I got the crap scared out of me by guys in ghillie suits, but it was still really cool because they were ghillie suits with little daisies on them.
Oh, geez.
As they scared you.
So, Galaxy's Edge, Dave.
Okay, so Galaxy's Edge, a lot of people were hitting me up on Facebook. Dude, how were the crowds? I'll be out there this weekend, Giant gift shop.
Really?
Sucked ass.
Really?
I was all right, here, let me give you the highlights. All right. So I got to get on the Millennium Falcon. All right. When you're getting into the cockpit, you walk into there where they got the hollow chest, and you're like, I mean, dude, I felt like I was walking into my childhood. It was sweet.
I saw you put some Facebook Live video up. Yeah.
God, it was great, man. So when we got in there, and then we got to ride, fly the Millennium Falcon, but everybody has little jobs to do. So it's fun. But that was it. That's the only ride, Brian. They have another, Fight the Resistance or whatever the hell the stupid name of it is, but it's closed. It still doesn't open up till December.
Okay.
So, but wait, Brian, there's more. There's like 7 other attractions in there. Yeah. You know what all 7 of them are?
Gift shops?
Gift shops.
Oh, geez.
Like, one is the First Order, and they're small ones. They're like maybe the size of our studio in the control room, but it's filled with great memorabilia that's not for sale. And all these T-shirts, it was hot garbage. I mean, I went into one of the DJ was like, "Oh, we got to go in here." I'm like, "What is this?" "Oh, they sell lightsabers." I'm like, "Okay, great. What's over here?" "Oh, it's resistance stuff." "Oh, they sell resistance stuff." So it was like 7 freaking gift shops, Brian.
Wow.
I mean, now the cool part was when you walk in there, you're like immersed in it. And there were some funny parts where Rey is walking around hiding from, First Order troopers. There's a bunch of troopers up there, like, "Halt, citizen, show me your ID." You really feel like you're in there. So, I mean, props for that. I mean,
so the Disney cast members are interacting with the populace.
Yes.
Right.
And I ratted out Rey. I was like, "She went that way, sir."
Nice.
And I showed them my Imperial tattoo. They're like, "Way to go, citizen." Like, "You're welcome, sir." And then we took a picture with BB-8, and I'm like, "All right, everybody smile. All right, let's go tell Darth Vader and Kylo where BB-8 is." And he's like, because they had a little guy, behind there. Yeah. It was fun. That was the cool part, just being immersed in there. Because, I mean, there was so much to look at and be a part of, but everything was freaking for sale, Brian. Yeah. I mean, they had 2 cantinas. Great. What do you freaking do, man?
So, and I saw that the Jedi training is still there for the kids.
That was fun. I mean, and look, all right, $200 for a lightsaber. Like DJ got his. You get to create your own lightsaber.
All right,
but it's pretty basic, dude. You pick, power and anger for Darth Vader's lightsaber.
Okay.
Then they have some older ones from like the Old Republic, and so DJ made one from like an older style where you can build it. The cool part is, though, and you pay for this, is they make a big display of it. They make a big production. You go into this little room and you can only bring up one other person with you. So as DJ and I, we go in there. And, you know, they're junkers, and they've collected all these pieces from across the galaxy for you to build your lightsaber. Each piece is different. This is how they get away with some pieces not fitting right. They're like, well, not all pieces are going to fit because it is junk collected from the galaxy. It's like, you guys suck. Right? I see what you did there. But they have like Yoda talk to you, and then it's like they make a big production of you putting in your lightsaber and turning it, and there's these like tube things where the blades are, but then they slowly recess back and they all light up at the same time. And so everybody's got their own colors. You know, you've got purple and blue and yellow and green and all that stuff. And it's like all of a sudden all the colors of the rainbow pop up in the room. But as a father, dude, that look on DJ's face was priceless. When he looked, he's like, oh, yeah, that was cool. I mean, but
so you're paying for an experience.
Yes.
All right.
Now, I mean, things could be said positively about that. I'm, I'm cheap.
Yeah.
But that was something where the experience was worth it.
Okay.
But as a whole, though, they're really kind of taking our love for this franchise, for everything that is Star Wars, and they're like, pay us.
Yeah.
Pay us. You want to see this? Pay us. It's like they open it up way too early because there's only one freaking ride, Brian.
Is Star Tours still there?
Star Tours is still there, and that one's still funny and kind of, yay, it's there. But then, it's like you go through, and here is the gift shop.
Oh, yeah. Well, you always exit through the gift shop.
Right. Well, no, there were a couple of rides they didn't. I was quite shocked. I think it's because they're remodeling.
Yeah.
But on the whole, though, I mean, Galaxy's Edge is great. I mean, I think all of our listeners and fans, like, when they go there, they're going to have a great time. But at some point, you're going to have this epiphany where it's like, damn, I just walked around with everything great. I feel, like a kid again. But now, I feel like a kid again that has bills to pay once I get home. And I'm not going to spend $300 on, a Kylo Ren bust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It was fun. I can't stress enough to get on the Millennium Falcon and do that ride, but it's the only ride. There's no way you can get a fast pass for it, so you have to stand in the line. But this says a lot about it. There was no crowds. I mean, the longest line we waited in for the Millennium Falcon was 50 minutes because you go in, you do it. It was a lot. It was like an interactive Star Tours. Instead of C-3PO getting locked into the driving booth,
right?
You get to get in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and push the buttons. Yay!
That's cool. How many people are in the cockpit with you?
6.
Okay.
So you got 2 pilots, 2 engineers, and 2 gunners.
All right.
So it's cool. I mean, look, I'm not poo-pooing on it, but I just want you to kind of go in there with your eyes open, knowing that you're gonna feel that you're taking advantage of it at some point. You're gonna step back and be like, damn, they're just basically
it's a money grab.
It is. They built it to prey upon your love of the franchise and say, pay me.
Yeah, that's kind of rough.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm trying. I had a great time, but at the end of the day, like at one point, I'm just kind of like, all right, I've literally seen everything. I wanted to have a LARP there. I wanted to break out rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
But that was it though. I mean, because you can't use it though. I mean,
yeah. No, I get it.
There we go. So
all
that
right.
is that it. Wow. Okay, that was our top nerd news recapping Halloween Horror Nights and Galaxy's Edge.
Right. So we got a minute or two.
Yeah,
huh?
we got a minute or two. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, big news this week out of Blizzard. I don't know if you followed any of this controversy. So basically, one of their Hearthstone players, Blitzchung, this guy made a statement in regards to the situation going on in Hong Kong, right? And he's pro Hong Kong, trying to fight against China, and basically they banned the guy. Right? Now, what sucks is that the language in regards to their rules is really vague.
Okay.
You could pretty much ban anybody for anything. It's just like, you can't use offensive language or stuff that's like not on point, but it's just really open-ended. And not only did he get a ban, but 2 of the casters, the sportscasters related to the event got banned as well. Now, since then, Blizzard came out and they made this big statement. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's a corporate non-statement.
That sounds about right. Well, look, as I sit here in the studio rocking my Saints jersey, I don't know if you heard about the NBA situation, the Houston Rockets.
Yes.
He tweeted a protester, Hong Kong protesters tweet, and they banned him from the country. And right now the Houston Rockets are playing in China. And so there's a huge kerfuffle going on right now because it's the NBA preseason.
Right.
And the owner of the Rockets came out and said, because it was the GM of the Rockets, and he goes, he does not represent the NBA, nor do his opinions represent the Rockets, because they are terrified of losing the Chinese market.
But didn't the NBA kind of push back on it?
They did, but not a whole lot. It was just kind of like, oh, well, everyone is entitled to their opinion. It was like another corporate non-statement. I mean, like they're already kind of blacking out some of the games. I mean, I don't know, dude.
Well, so real quick, getting back to this Hearthstone player, it's been updated. What they did was initially they took the guy's prize winnings and just give him nothing.
Dang, that's wrong.
And banned him for like a year. Right.
Like Blizzard.
Blizzard did, yes.
Okay.
They have since walked that back. They've restored his prize winnings.
Okay.
And his ban is now 6 months. So he's still bummed out about it. He still thinks it's a little bit long.
Yeah.
But he's like, look, I'm going to go take some time. I'm going to, reconsider what's going on.
There always is a price to free speech. I mean, there is. I mean, it's not, you can't say something and not expect some sort of repercussion, because no matter what you say, someone will be offended by it. I've learned that the hard way being on radio now.
Well, and, of course, everybody's jumping on Blizzard to say, well, you're just kowtowing to China for the cash, right?
Well, they're a business partner. I mean, I can see both sides. That's why I'm not.
Well, so the Chinese markets own somewhere around 5-6% of Blizzard, or have investment of it's not a huge amount, but it is. It is money, right? They would lose that. It's tough, and the thing is
I know we don't touch on this at all. Really,
right.
We don't do this politics stuff on our show, and this is a rarity, but because it's so game centric. But I mean, with all the tariffs, they're starting to remove that, and now the U.S. and China are starting to shake hands, and they're going to start buying our groceries again. Like they're going to start buying food surplus from us. And so pretty much everybody's going to go back to being, hey, buddy. But
not necessarily, because, look, Blizzard and the NBA aren't the only people that got banned. South Park has been banned in China as well, yes. So
did they kill Kenny?
Well, the second episode of their 23rd season is called Banned in China, as BAND.
Yes.
And
that is, God, I love South Park. You guys are the best.
Yeah, and basically they're trying to weigh the ethical principles against the prospect of making money in China, right? So there's
brilliant.
Yeah, there's two different storylines that are happening. One is the character Randy Marsh is trying to open up the Chinese market to legal weed sales.
Nice, smart.
And then the other side is that there's Randy's son Stan creates a heavy metal band, and they've retooled their band to be more friendly to the Chinese market.
Oh, wow.
And so what they're doing here is they're trying to, well, the record executive related to the production says you have to lower your ideals of freedom if you want to suck on the warm teat of China. Right, it's kind of
that is beautiful.
The whole, to sum up the whole thing. But yeah, the South Park is completely banned on the Chinese internet. You cannot find it.
That's awesome.
Out there. Yeah,
good on you, South Park.
So we'll see, man. I mean, China's a force in the world, and they have very different ideals than we do. So
they do. Look. Whatever, man. I'm down. Power to the people, man. Keep fighting Hong Kong.
There you go. So when we get back from these short commercial messages, some controversial statements from Martin Scorsese.
Stupid Scorsese, but you know who came to save the day?
RDJ.
Yes, and SLJ.
Nice. All right, guys, stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Big Easy Con comes to New Orleans November 1st to the 3rd at the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. Don't miss celebrity guests Anthony Mackie, Zachary Levi, Weird Al Yankovic, Michael Dorn, and so many more. Get tickets and learn more at BigEasyCon.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at W&Co's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
My name is Optimus Prime, and you are listening to
Starscream here, and you are listening to The Week in Geek. Call me Lord.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, along with
Brian Held.
Brian, I just checked my email, so I just want to say that I hope everyone goes out to Galaxy's Edge and really enjoys it. I just checked my email. Apparently, they're very unhappy with me.
Oh, is that the corporate initiative?
Yes. Well, working for iHeart. They're like, shut up, D-Square. Like, sir, yes, sir. Go to Galaxy's Edge. It's great. I love them more than cats. I want to see it again.
And again. Nice.
All right, let's talk about our DJ. Well, let's talk about Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Did you print up the list of movies?
I did print up the list of movies, yes. So Martin Scorsese apparently is not happy with the current state of superhero films in the industry.
Well, it's pretty interesting that I just came from a theme park, and then he calls all these comic book movies like theme parks. Now, I see what he's kind of sort of saying, where he's like, the landscape where the cinema is now a theme park, where you go there to watch these funny book pictures, come to life, and then, yay, that's it. And I think a lot of people take umbrage to that, and I mean, myself included, where it's like, all right, maybe they're not getting put up for awards and things like that, which, we can have a debate about that later.
Right.
But on the whole, though, to sit there and call this not cinema when this guy obviously has his niche where it's Goodfellas and everything else, I mean, I'm sure there's a few people that don't really like Scorsese films. I mean, I like Scorsese films, but I mean, he's got his little niche too.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's more of the point where Scorsese is trying to back up the art side and the real human story behind it. And that's not to say that Marvel Cinematic Universe movies don't have a human story. Of course they do. There's a great narrative there, but it is very much in that whole, Saturday morning kind of 1950s cowboys versus Indians,
It does, but I mean, there are times where, like you and I have talked about it, where they've kind of get into the human element, but then when it gets a little too serious, they throw a joke out there and then they go back to the action.
Right. And I mean, it is cinema. It is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's a spectacle. It's entertaining. Obviously, people enjoy it because Marvel's made, over $8 billion for 23 movies.
Right.
Clearly, they're doing something correct that, that the viewing public is getting in on. And I think that Scorsese, and of course, Scorsese has gotten criticism for his statements for being elitist and snobbish about this. But I see his point. There is a place for those art house films, those films that delve deeply into our soul and get a good story, something that really makes you think. And when I get out of a Marvel movie, I'm kind of sitting there looking for the Easter eggs and just feeling happy. Like I walk out with a smile on my face.
There are things like that to look for, though, because there's a breadth of material that they're pulling from, So there's going to be a little tip of the caps and, Easter eggs all within that. Where I guess, if you're watching I don't know, The Wolf of Wall Street, where, I mean, maybe he throws in a nod to some of his old flicks, like Raging Bull or something like that, or Taxi. But I mean, I think what he's trying to get at is just that he doesn't feel as if like he even kind of doubled down back on it again, where he's like, yeah, sure, cinematography is great and all that, but it's still, I think he feels that it cheapens the cinema experience when you go there. That now it's all about these comic book blockbuster tentpole films, and it's not about the art, or maybe not the art, but the experience of going to the cinema and being moved by those pictures, where he's just got a different opinion of what cinema should be.
Did you have some audio?
I did. All right. So RDJ went on with Howard.
Well, hold on. Before did you have audio for Scorsese?
I do not. Well,
all right.
Okay.
So there's a quote here, and this is the full quote from Scorsese. Theaters have become amusement parks. That is all fine and good, but don't invade everything else in that sense. That is fine and good for those who enjoy that type of film. And by the way, knowing what goes into them now, I admire what they do. It's not my kind of thing. It simply is not. It's creating another kind of audience that thinks cinema is that. So in here,
whoa! All right.
So the couple points.
Okay.
One, I don't like the line in the sand, as if this is invading cinema. I think that's a bit much. There's space for both. Right.
This is what cinema. I mean, it's like, okay, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Princess Bride, all these movies that were in the cinema. I mean, like, is he the gatekeeper now? Like, we talk about this at cons, who gets to be the gatekeeper? Why is there a freaking gatekeeper? Nobody should be the damn gatekeeper.
Well, I think that he is trying to drive cinema to be that more artistic side of things and the more in-depth type presentations versus this, spectacle entertainment.
Which ones make the money, though, Brian?
Well, that's true.
I don't know. Why can't Hollywood wean themselves off the warm teeth of the reboot? Because that's what they really love, those reboots.
Right.
Why? They need to do that. That's him. He's fighting the wrong fight.
He is, clearly. Why don't we hear what RDJ has to say about it?
All right. So he starts off really just kind of talking about, I guess, the elephant in the room, as it were.
You still enjoy doing it, yes?
I'll tell you the truth. I didn't expect it to become what it became. Mm-hmm. And it is this very large, multi-headed hydra at this point. And I've always had other interests. And according to Scorsese, it's not cinema. I got to take a look at that,
Well, why did he say that?
Because it's his opinion.
But it is cinema, isn't it?
I mean, it plays in theaters.
Yeah, well, what did he mean by that it's not cinema?
I appreciate his opinion because I think it's like anything. We need all of the different perspectives so we can come to center and move on. You're therapy.
No, come on.
You're therapized.
No, you're being too nice.
Magnanimous, it's called.
No, really. Were you insulted when he said that it's not cinema, that somehow Iron Man isn't cinema? It is cinema to me.
Well, I mean, look, it'd be like saying Howard Stern isn't radio. It is. It makes no sense.
But what was he
trying?
Was he jealous of the success?
Of course not. But I mean, he's Martin Scorsese.
So what does he mean by it?
I think in his view, and by the way, there's a lot to be said for how these genre movies, and I was happy to be part of the problem if there is one.
Right.
Were denigrated the art form of cinema. And by the way, when you come in like a stomping beast and you eliminate the competition in such a demonstrative way,
right there,
it's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
There you go. It's phenomenal, Brian. Phenomenon.
It's first off, I just want to make sure that I caught that right. Did Robert Downey Jr. say Hail Hydra? Because I think I heard him say Hail.
No, it said a many-headed Hydra. But he dropped the Hydra right at the beginning, right out the gate. He wanted to throw Hail Hydra out there.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make
sure. Say Hail.
Yeah, no, I'm playing. But I think he brings up some good points.
I think also he's covering his bets though too, because he probably wants to be in another Scorsese flick at some point too. So don't poke the bear too much. But I mean, so he's got a solid point.
Are you saying Scorsese is the China of cinema?
Oh my God, the warm cheat of Scorsese. I think his biggest point is that, maybe that Scorsese is a little upset because it has come in there and just made so much money. It hit the zeitgeist of America, but in so many different parts, though, because so many different movies are being so successful. It's in the same genre. It's just like Cowboys and Indians, how you turn on any old school station, they're playing old black and white Westerns. Why? Because it took over cinema.
Yeah.
And then once the Spaceman came around, Westerns went the way of the dodo, and then you've got Plan B from outer space times 10 billion.
Right. Well, I think it's always been a thing, not just now, but throughout history, for a number of deals where whatever's easily accessible, people are going to gravitate toward that. They're going to pick that up. And the more nuanced elements of any given thing are I don't want to say reserved for academics, but it's people who have a strong desire to want to know more about that. Now, as geeks, we do want to know more about these things. More? Right, of course. But I mean, how many people, just the average sort of theater going people, how many of those people go to plays or opera or whatever and take in the different arts? All that stuff is out there, and it's definitely very good. We all should get some of that culture, but on the same token, the Marvel movies, DC movies, stuff are easily accessible. They're right there. They're big, flashy. I can go in. I come out with a smile on my face.
Right.
I know my money is going to be well spent, and I'm going to enjoy my time doing it. Versus having to go watch a movie and then I may have to think for a while.
Right. All right. Well, you know what? I know we got to take a break because we got to go to our guest, but I wonder what he thinks about Joker. I know you and I we talked about a little bit about this before we came on the air. You have not seen it yet. I got to see it while I was on vacation. We talked about it a few shows ago where, Joaquin Phoenix got up and walked out of an interview because somebody asked if they were, maybe going to expect copycat people, maybe mass shootings would erupt. They had a lot of events where you could not go alone. You had to show up to a movie theater with a guest. They were trying to avoid lone wolf type scenarios. Right. They had police at a lot of these events. I went to go see it, Brian, and one of the things, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I want to just say that I'm not sure where the hell they got this from. I could see some correlation there, but on the whole, this movie was like, do you want to be an evil mastermind? Do you need minions that will carelessly throw away their lives for you? This was how to be a mastermind and earn minions and have henchmen. That's what this movie boiled down to, where this was more a struggle of classes, not lone wolf shooters or things like this. This was the poor and downtrodden of Gotham City fighting back to the rich and powerful of Gotham City. I mean, you know what Gotham looks like. Everybody who listens to the show, you can conjure up an image of Gotham, and it's dark and seedy, and the streets are filled with garbage, and there's crime on every corner. Well, it's because of this lower class that has just been downtrodden, forgotten. And with the Joker, you just kind of watched a person where every type of crap could go wrong in his life. It just went wrong. And it was just this spiral. And I don't want to give too much away, but there was so much that towards the end where I could see the correlation where they're saying, oh, well, this is what snapped him. No, the dude was already snapped.
So do you think that this is a pop culture meets art house delving into the dark psyche of the human mind kind of deal?
Yeah. I mean, it was a great movie where even towards the end, I was just kind of like, wow, damn.
Okay.
But in its defense, where a lot of people were trying to make it to be something that it wasn't, I understand now, Brian, why when you see like the Joker, why he always has these henchmen. When you play Arkham Knight and all these other games where it's like, yeah, Joker's got it crazy, I don't want to be around him, but they keep gravitating towards him because he is like the icon of the downtrodden. That's what this movie did. It explains why people gravitate towards this crazy son of a biscuit eater who is a mass murderer.
Yeah.
But they come to him, and so that's why I call how to get a henchman.
So real quick, I know we got to get the break. Just one important last announcement before we get to our guest. We need to engage the
Yes, I knew you were going to do
Space
this.
Forces of Nerdlandia.
But this is why America has a Space Force.
All right. Well, so apparently there is a Nigerian astronaut, right, who is aboard a
Soyuz rocket?
A Salyut 6 space station since 1979.
Oh my! What is he eating?
I don't know. They're getting food up to him.
Oh, thank God!
But since he's been there for that long, he's accrued pay of $15 million American dollars.
Wow!
And so if you can assist, or if Nerdlandia can assist by opening up our bank accounts to accept payment,
okay,
right, and then we can use that to help fund a flight to get this Nigerian astronaut
Why don't
back.
we just build our own rocket and we'll go up there and rescue him ourselves? We can be heroes. We can be heroes just for one day.
I think that's great. I think we should engage the troops of Nerdlandia and make that happen.
But I thought that's what Space Force was all about. Go rescue people stranded in, lost in space.
All right, guys, when we get back, our interview with Shay Savage. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
ProSe Productions is a leading independent publisher on the cutting edge of new pulp and genre fiction today. At ProSe Productions, you'll find fiction featuring fast-paced action and adventure, larger-than-life protagonists, over-the-top characters, and tight yet extravagant plots. ProSe specializes in prose books, anthologies, audiobooks, and more. Go to prose-press.com to find our monthly release schedule and more info about our great titles. ProSe Productions is your first-rate publisher of new pulp fiction today.
Big Easy Con comes to New Orleans November 1st to the 3rd at the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. Don't miss celebrity guests Anthony Mackie, Zachary Levi, Weird Al Yankovic, Michael Dorn, and so many more. Get tickets and learn more at BigEasyCon.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at W&Q's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Hey, this is Jason Douglas. Actually, this is Beerus the Destroyer, and you're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
This is Brian Held with the Week in Geek radio show on News Talk 99.5 WRNO, and I'm joined by USA Today bestselling author Shay Savage. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you doing today?
We're wonderful, digging into your background and everything, I'm really intrigued because you kind of seem like you're all over the place. You have a degree in psychology.
I do.
And yet you worked in IT and now you're a writer. Tell me about that journey.
All right. Well, that's actually writing is my third major career. I did start off initially in college for marine biology and ended up switching to psychology I think sometime in my junior year, and did social work for a little while after college, and then realized I was going to become a burned out social worker.
Right.
But I've always been a geek on the side, and I started programming in BASIC about 8 or 9 years old. So, my computer stuff went back quite a ways.
Wow.
And I had always done that on the side. Usually I would build a few PCs for people, just as like some extra income so I could buy one new one for myself every year.
Yeah.
So I had the top of the line gaming machine for me. And I turned that into an entry-level IT position, which turned into a 20-year career.
Wow.
And then at some point, I had been writing throughout all of that. Ever since I was in school, I always piddled around with creative writing. And I wrote a few things. I wrote a lot of fan fiction. And got a lot of approval from people and kind of built myself a fan base. And, a bunch of other people I knew were publishing and seemed to be taking off pretty well. So I'm like, well, let's give it a try. And my first full-length novel, which was my second publication, got picked up by a really big blogger for romance novels,
Okay.
and got a 5-star review, and I became a bestseller pretty much overnight.
Wow.
And, it's IT, so we had reorganized, and I'd gotten a new boss, and I wasn't getting along with him too well, so it was really nice to be able to say bye.
And just write all the time, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that was about a little over 6 years ago now. So,
wow, that's awesome. Now, all of your works, and you have a lot of works out there, that it's all self-published, right?
Yes, I'm completely independent.
Oh, man. So, how have you gotten so successful in that space?
I have had the support of fabulous people in my life.
All right.
I mean, that's the main thing. Mostly people who came from the book world, who were well known in the book world, and really have helped push a lot of independent authors to success. And I was lucky enough to befriend some of those people just through various means. And it's all I can say is I think it's an accident as much as anything. You hear people say, it's a lot of it is just timing and being in the right place at the right time. And I think being successful has a lot less to do with how great a writer you are,
okay,
than it does with. I mean, you have to be able to write, and you have to be able to tell a good story, or people don't buy them. But a lot of it just has to do with placement and right place, right time. And today, the right places, right time is the Facebook post that goes up that says, "Oh my goodness, have you read this book?"
Right.
If you haven't read this book, you have got to read this book right now. And you have the right person saying that, or the right 10 or 20 people saying that. And it makes a big influence.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to dig into some of your books in a minute, but one of the things I want to talk about is the process for you of writing. And to quote you from your bio, it says, "It's my job to make you feel. That doesn't always mean you'll feel good, but I want my readers to be connected enough to my characters to care." So dig into that for me. How do you make a reader care about your characters?
Well, that's the essence of character development. And to me, I love a broken character. And I think we have enough. Everybody has a little bit of brokenness in our lives. We've got some tragedy, and it might be a major tragedy, it might be a minor tragedy, or several minor tragedies. Everybody's got something. And we can all identify on some level with a broken person. I like to take that about 10 or 20 times farther and get a really broken person. What can I do to make you like someone who is borderline sociopathic?
Wow.
And that's kind of the essence of what I want to do. And that's where my psychology background really comes into a lot of it. And just, digging into why this person is this way.
Nice.
What brought them to that point, and what happened to them that I can create some sympathy for them. So even though ultimately what they're doing might not be justifiable, you understand where they're coming from.
Right. Now, you don't have a whole lot that is necessarily for my audience, and we're going to get to that in a second. But your most recent sci-fi book is called Talon. Tell me about this book.
Talon is a post-apocalypse Robin Hood.
Okay.
For just to put it in the simplest terms, this is the apocalypse that has destroyed the world is the eruption of Yellowstone.
Okay.
And it's happened. This is many years past the initial eruption, but the devastation is still very much present. You're living in the whole west side of the continent, from basically the Appalachians west, is gone.
Okay.
And you've got the survivors on the other side of the mountain range who are still living in a pile of ash where growing food is very difficult. There is no world communication anymore. That was never, had not been able to be rebuilt, at least at this point.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people with that manage to survive in the best places and have the best resources who do not want to share.
All right.
And so the character of Talon, who refers to himself as the head of Lost and Found, finds things that other people don't realize they have lost in the places where, the people who actually have things and build walls to keep everyone out, and takes it to the people in the valley who are, starving with nothing.
Nice. That's cool.
And there's a lot of government intrigue in there, and how they're, artificially manipulating situations and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah. So you mentioned, this is the apocalypse as a result of the explosion of Yellowstone. So of course, that's a theory that it could go any day now. I'm taking you did a lot of research there?
Sometime between now and the next 80,000 years, yeah.
Right.
If it's going to stay on schedule. Geology time doesn't work the way everybody else does.
Right. Now, if you could dig in for me, because we're gonna shift gears here a little bit. A lot of your success has come from your erotic fiction.
Yes.
And I mean that's a complete 180 from this like Talon we mentioned, kind of sci-fi focus and stuff. Tell me about writing erotic fiction.
Oh, that's a big question.
Right.
And I see myself as an action adventure writer.
Okay.
I write action adventure stories, but they're for adults.
Okay.
And where other stories or other books fade to black when the couple gets together and looks at each other all moon-eyed, I don't. I go into much more explicit detail, which we're seeing is becoming far more common in, I'll call it mainstream media, even though it's, cable and all that kind of stuff. You listen to Sirius radio and you don't have the same sort of regulations that you do with things that, kids could be listening to anytime. And the same thing with just to throw Game of Thrones out there because it's been so huge for so many years. Right. It's very explicit. My writing's really no different than that. But I'm an action adventure writer with an erotic component.
Okay. That's fair. Well, and the podcasting space too, it's all that's not regulated right now. So you can kind of go all over the place with that.
No, be careful what you ask for.
No, that's cool. Now, we were talking earlier, you have a new, so Talon came out earlier this year, right?
Yeah, it came out in February, yeah.
And you have a new erotic fiction series.
Yes.
Kingster series?
The Savage Kingster series. Yes. And it's they're a little bit shorter novels, so they're quick reads. Kind of, at least the first one was introduced as kind of a quick summer read. Less on the exact, there's a little bit of an action adventure component, or at least adventure component, but it's far more about a situational short story or a situational novella where you've got a couple who are put in a situation. They said, I like messing with my characters' heads. And in the first one Night in a Storm, they're in a situation where they're in a library, it's flooded out, they can't get out, they can't get to people. What are they going to do to occupy their time while they're stuck?
That's fair.
And they occupy their time with rope bondage.
Oh, all right.
Which is, maybe not your average Tuesday night, but not everyone's college's experiences are the same.
No, that's definitely fair. No.
And the series follows different couples. So the next series is about another couple that are friends with the first couple, and it kind of moves on from there. So
all right. No, that's
they're
cool.
short, fun reads.
No, that's cool. Now I'm trying to remember, you talked about when I was doing my research about how you have these conversations in your head that kind of pop up, and then if they continue to pop up, you have to write them down or you're going to be driven insane, right? Is that the process?
That is my writing process too, in a nutshell, and it'll stem from something usually very small. It won't be a song on the radio, but it might be a single line that I hear of a song that I haven't heard before, and it'll keep going through my head, and images will come with that line in the song. And it'll just keep going, and if it starts building on itself, I know I'm in trouble, especially if I'm already in the middle of another book. And sometimes it's something somebody will say to me, or something that just comes in my head as I'm driving down the road and I see something, and it just starts developing into something more.
Right.
It just kind of keeps building on itself, and I'm a bit of an insomniac, and it'll start running through my head when I'm trying to go to sleep, and I guess we're not sleeping tonight, we're going to get up and write instead.
Right. and is that what they say, where the character tells you the story, it kind of writes itself at that point?
I think that makes it sound a little too simplistic, but there's still a lot of work that goes on with it. And there's still a lot of sitting around going, I don't know what happens next. And I don't, I'm going to get up and, walk the dog and think about this for a while and come back. Sometimes it flows faster than others. But yeah, I think I still kind of fit into that category of at least parts of it will write itself. And then the hard part is tying it all together and making it into an actual cohesive story that isn't full of holes.
Right. All right, cool. Well, Shay, I'm sorry, but we do have to get to a commercial break. If you could let folks out there know how they can find you on the net and keep up with all these great projects you're working on.
I'm on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have a Facebook author page and a Facebook reader group. The easiest place to find all of those, though, is just shaysavage.com.
Okay. No, that's perfect. Well, hang tight for me, and thanks so much for being on the show tonight.
No problem. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, stay tuned. When we get back, we're going to close out the show as we always do with This Week in Geek History. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at W&Q's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Big Easy Con comes to New Orleans November 1st to the 3rd at the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. Don't miss celebrity guests Anthony Mackie, Zachary Levi, Weird Al Yankovic, Michael Dorn, and so many more. Get tickets and learn more at BigEasyCon.com.
This is Captain Rex, troopers, and you're listening to The Week in Geek. Now move out.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek. As always, I want to strongly urge you to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Twig Radio, and the Instagram's The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, if you missed any part of tonight's show or you want to catch your favorite part again, you can always find us on Spreaker.com or download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, the iHeartRadio app,
and your mama's house. All right, This Week in Geek History. Let's go.
All right, so first item on my list, October 7, 1958. Project Mercury was the United States' first man-in-space program. That's when it launched. They made 6-man flights between 61 and 63, and they wanted to orbit a manned spacecraft around Earth, investigate man's ability to function in space, and to recover them.
Oh, well, did we not give that information to Africa with the poor guy who's trapped up there right now?
No, apparently that wasn't shared out on the global stage.
All right, well, maybe we'll still help him out.
All right, maybe so. All right, October 8th, 2004. On a budget of $7,000, was seized the release of Primer. It's a sci-fi drama about the accidental discovery of a means of time travel. Yeah, it's like, this is the trippiest movie.
I don't remember this at all.
No, I've watched it. You can go online and watch it, right? It didn't have a big release or anything, but it is a crazy movie, and there's diagrams that people have done so that you can understand what's happening with the people who are traveling through time. It's crazy.
All right,
let's see how fast you are on the hotkeys. On October 9th, 1987. Directed by Rob Reiner and starring Carrie Elways, Mandy Patinkin, Andre the Giant, and Robin Wright, it's...
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die!
Yeah!
The Princess Bride. Yes, absolutely.
When is the remake? The reboot?
Oh, no.
No reboot?
You shut your mouth.
You shut your dirty pie hole.
All right. On October 10th, 1984... starring John Hurt, Richard Burton, and Susanna Hamilton, seized the release of 1984, based on Orwell's novel. Yes.
Is it all coming to fruition now, Brian?
Oh, geez.
Is it all here now?
We talked enough politics around China earlier.
Can we have a reboot of 1984?
Reboots?
No.
Reboots? No?
No.
What we call it, 2004, 2014? No, 2024?
All right. On October 11th, 1975... sees the debut of Saturday Night Live with guest host George Carlin. And, of course, everybody gets to complain about their favorite cast and how this season is not as good as the previous. Yes,
of course.
That's how it works.
They started off with Adam Sandler this season, so there was that. It was still very uncomfortable and unfunny.
Oh, jeez.
But there you go.
All right, last on my list, October 12th, 1979. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is published by Douglas Adams.
Nice.
So, all right, quick birthdays. 7th, Sean Ashmore. On the 8th, Sigourney Weaver. 9th, Scott Bakula. On the 11th, Michelle Trachtenberg. On the 12th, John Hutcherson. And also on the 12th, Hugh Jackman.
All right, I'm officially off the I hate, Star Trek Enterprise now. It's been a long...
Oh, yeah.
It's grown on me. I like the series now.
All right, that's cool. We're still working on booking guests for next week from Big Easy Con, so hopefully we'll have something out. Go check our Facebook page to win free tickets to Big Easy Con.
Very good. All right, till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL.
Nola's home for Fox News Radio and the Weather Channel. News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM, New Orleans. An iHeart radio station.